Hello everyone, I'm Lloyd Shoemaker. I want to encourage you to watch a very special sports show on Channel 5. It's the Night of the Legends. We had 5 of the former Piqua High School graduates who played in the NFL Football League back for a very special reunion on a Saturday night dinner. We want you to be sure and watch that, appreciate what they brought to the program, and we want to thank those people that put it together. It was a very special evening, and we hope you enjoy the show.
My name is Chip Hare, and I have the privilege to be the athletic director for Piqua City Schools. And I will again be one of numerous people that get up here to thank you for your support, not just for this evening, but for our community and for Piqua City Schools, and obviously for Piqua football. Last night, I had the opportunity to feel that infectious level of energy that was between the crowd and our 5 legends, and it was very genuine. And just to get that feel is really special. And there's not a lot of places in the United States that has that, and this is a great place to be. Give yourselves a round of applause. Last night was a historic night, and obvious for several reasons. We had great energy last night before the game with our boosters, with our chicken dinner. The weather was fantastic. You can't predict that. And obviously, the energy continued at halftime with our NFL players and legends. And, of course, the second half, the Indians took it up to another level, and we were able to secure a win. So history took place in a lot of ways. We also had another additional historic event last night that took place that I am honored to talk about in the senses of we talk about our coaches. And we're going to talk about our players tonight, but they will tell you, and they will probably mention in their talk tonight at some point in time about the impact their coaches had. We have had great coaches here in Piqua. Great coaches. We've heard Coach Chuck Asher, of course, Coach Steve Magato, Coach Wirtz. We've heard over and over the great coaches that we've had. It is not a secret in here that our own Coach Neese is a great coach. Last night was very historic. Last night he tied and is now tied Coach Wirtz and he is tied Coach as the all-time winningest coach for Piqua football. That's special. That's a lot of wins, and I don't have to get into that. I know he will be a little embarrassed to get into that, but I do think it's ironic, but I also think it's very appropriate that happened last night at that game. So without further ado, I would like to, and I will tell you that there is no other coach in the state of Ohio or the United States of America that works harder than this guy. And I don't have to tell anybody that because they know that. If you just drive by the stadium on Sunday afternoon, you'll see his car sitting out there amongst his staff. So without further ado, our coach, Coach Bill Neese.
Hey, thank you. I would like to recognize one of the coach in the room, and that is there's 2 people tied, for the all-time lead in wins, and of course we also have, which will be the 3rd place guy from this point on, hopefully forever, and that will be Chuck Asher. So if we can get a big round of applause for him also. Okay, now. Let me tell you what happened last night here. We got the idea when this NFL thing came about, we got the idea that we wanted to use these guys as best we could as a motivating factor into this whole deal last night. So we go back in the archives, we find a little highlight film here, we put it together, we get some NFL music. You guys were able to see it up here tonight. what we then did was we brought everybody into the locker room. Everybody's keyed up, sitting down, ready to roll. We showed a film, and then as soon as the film's over with, these 5 guys are up, ready to talk to our players. And it was a great experience. Craig Clemens comes out. First of all, we call on him. He talks about hard work, how everything that you do for the course of the year, everything you put in the weight room, all the different things come together for a night like this. And, and those guys picked up on that great. And Dr. Gallagher talked about the fact that, he's been in a lot of locker rooms, and every locker room is unique, in a certain aspect. But last night is one of those things that you're going to remember all the time. So again, those guys were responding very well. Matt Finkus comes in. Matt talks about the fact that he's, in a situation where you never know when you're going to play your last game. You're going to have a finite number of games to play and enjoy each one of those games. Again, a beautiful talk. And so now these guys are just rolling. They're ready to roll. And the whole time they're sitting over there, I notice Quinn is sitting amongst the team. He's in with the team. Okay? All the other guys are over here. And so I said, well, I'm going to switch the order here. So I bring Brandon up. Brandon, excellent job, comes up, hits the state championship thing. And the thing about Brandon is, maybe people don't realize this, you probably don't, but I've probably coaching over 225 games, maybe a little bit more than that here at Piqua. And there's only been 2 times in the history of my coaching that I've had anybody talk before a game other than myself. And Brandon Sane has done it twice. We're 2-0. All right? And so obviously I got him in the back pocket in case we need something big here this year. But Brandon comes up and he, does a great job with the fact that, his state, the year they won the state championship. I wasn't sure how it was going to go. He brought up the fact that the other one, we won the state championship. If you guys remember, we actually lost our first game over in Grove City. All right, but then it was the rebound factor coming in, so he reeled it back in, so everything was good there. And so then finally, I call on Quinn, and I'm like, hey, the mighty Quinn is ready to speak here. And he's ready to play the game. He's ready to play. Everybody else is relaxed and giving the speech, and you can tell he had just been like a week from the actual game itself. Quinn's up, and he's got the look. He's, just like I remember in high school and everything. He's firing these guys up, and he's trying to do, though, he had to hesitate for a second because he's trying to give the best message he can without, or I should say, with the least amount of profanity involved in it. And I really appreciated that, Quinn, because I know talking to you sometimes that you get pretty passionate about the whole deal. So we got everybody together. We get out there, and there was not a whole lot of difference between the first half and the second half, except for the fact that we just played a little bit better. And yeah, there was some energy. There was some energy at halftime. And we realized that, and we got some people rolling, and it turned out to be a great night. And so I'm happy to be here. I'm glad that these guys had a chance. I got a chance to see everybody. Quinn came in today and spent some time in the weight room and in the film room with us today, so that was great. And everything worked out good. It's a great weekend. Now, I'll tell you 2 things, though. There's no secret about 2 things. Number 1 is I'm the warm-up band. And you guys are ready to hear these guys talk, so I'm going to move on through. And then number 2, I still think if you look at your program, it's been mentioned now 4 times. As soon as I walked in the door, everybody thanked me for last night. And if you look at your program, I still think that was a tentative program where it says remarks, head coach Bill Neese. I think they just ran that off this afternoon after they made sure we're winning, because I really think that Chuck Asher was going to be making the speeches if we had lost, and I would be somehow out there doing something along the service department. So I appreciate you guys having us here. Great weekend for everybody. I hope we can do this again and have some more NFL people. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've said it before. There may be an occasion we're outplayed. We're never outcoached. Folks, this is going to be a special evening, but before we begin the real festivities, I'd like to introduce the planning committee who have spent so much time putting this weekend together. Ed Perk, Chip Hare, Bob Luby, Chuck Asher, and I was pleased to be part of that committee. When our committee met for the first time, it became obvious that we would honor 5 of our finest. not just for their high school achievements, not just for their collegiate successes, but because they realized the dream of every youngster, playing in the National Football League. We contacted NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, and his office responded by offering to provide a former professional football player to represent the NFL. It has been a pleasure to have Tony Stewart with us this weekend. You may have had the privilege of meeting him last night, but again, let me mention that Tony is a graduate of Penn State University, has played for the Bengals, the Eagles, and the Raiders. He's been very active in his community and has certainly made the difference in helping those in need. Let's welcome him once again and ask him to come to the podium and share some of his thoughts about his professional career and his involvement in the community. He's also here with his two sons. Tony.
I feel like I'm under pressure here today. I'm really honored to be part of this day. You know, when the NFL called me, I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, and when the NFL called me to come out here, they said it was a small town. And by the looks of the way you guys do things, what I experienced yesterday, what I experienced today, you guys do things first class. It doesn't matter how small or big you are, you guys do things first class. I want to thank Mr. Bachman. I want to thank you for welcoming me here. Chip Hare, Principal Lyons, and just all of you, the Piqua family, because that's what I feel here today. I feel a family. I grew up in Pennsylvania, just outside of Philadelphia, and my mom, she worked in a factory sewing clothes, everything from T-shirts to hospital gowns and everything in between. My dad works at a cemetery, and he's been a salesman for most of his life. The last couple years of his life, he's had the honor of becoming the manager. He's just worked his heart and take care of the little things in his life. Blue collar has been a theme in my life, my entire life. And I can see that that's what's ingrained in this community here in Piqua, Ohio. The blue collar attitude, the hard hat and lunch pail type of mentality, taking care of the little things. I grew up on sports fields like this. I grew up with people like you taking care of me. When I didn't have a couple bucks in my pocket, I had coaches, community members, moms and dads, aunts and uncles spot me a $5. That's $5 for those of you who don't know. Spot me $5, you know. Let me get a McDonald's cheeseburger, a Burger King cheeseburger. People like you. Friday night lights. Who was not there yesterday at the game? Nobody wants to raise. Okay, we got one hand raised. 99% is pretty good. But that's what it's all about. That's what community is all about. I took time to really soak in the atmosphere yesterday, Coach. I mean, I did a 360. I was soaking in every angle of that field yesterday, even down to the windmill in the background of the setting sun. I mean, it was just so powerful. It was an epic night. You could have ran that reel last night and showed it 1,000,000 times and showed that's what high school community football is all about. It was awesome. It really was awesome. And that's what it's about. Sharing the details of life. That's what you guys do. You guys are a force. I love it. You share the details from the little children to the young adults to the foundation of a community that's here in this room. And I know there are a lot of other people that have done some great things in this community. The famed coach John Wooten has this quote, and it's really epitomizes kind of my view on life and my view on the things that I do and why I do it. And it says this: it's the little details that are vital. Little things make big things happen. And as I look at my NFL brothers, Craig, Dr. Dave. I know we're missing Matt, but we got Quinn and Brandon back there. I know the dream of playing in the NFL could not have been realized without really understanding what it takes to be a pro. Not just a professional athlete, but a pro. Having the preparation, taking care of the responsibilities, and seizing the opportunities. You know a lot of people out there that just have the title, whether it's doctor or whether it's, police officer or fireman. You know the people that have the titles, but you know the pros that are in your community. You know the people that you are going to call on when you need the best. And I look at these guys and I know they know what it takes and what it means to be a pro. And some of you in the audience might not really understand it, but that's one of the highest compliments one professional football player can tell another: you're a pro. That's one of the highest compliments. When somebody says you're a pro, it's one of the highest compliments. Am I right, Quinn? It's one of the highest compliments that one player can give another. I ran into Ed Perk. Where you at, Ed? I have my two boys here, and Ed said, you got some good boys. I have 4 children. I've been married 12 years, and I have some good boys. I have 3 boys and a girl. And Ed says, you know where good children come from, don't you? He said, good parents. And I thought to myself, as I've been experiencing the atmosphere here in Piqua, Ohio, in this community, I thought to myself, you know where these good football players come from? They come from good coaches. Come on, I need 30 more seconds. But I thought to myself, you know where good players come from? They come from good coaches. They come from good community. They come from good families. They come from good people. I don't know all the stories that have brought you all here to this place tonight at the end of August 2014. I don't know all the stories. I know that there's been a lot of sacrifice. I know that there's been a lot of exciting times, things that you'll always remember. And I know that there's a lot more stories to be written. I just want to continue to encourage you guys to continue to be pros in this community, to continue to take that preparation, the responsibility of raising up the next generation, and the opportunities that come when you have a guy maybe make it to the big league. You guys, it's been such an honor to be welcomed here and to be here as representing the NFL and Commissioner Goodell. And really, it's been I don't think I'd rather be anywhere else these last couple of days. It's been a great time. So thank you very much. Thank you guys. Let's continue to have a great night.
Thank you, Tony Stewart. Later on in the program, you're going to have a chance to ask questions of our 5 honorees and Tony Stewart. But right now, let me just say this. Our 5 honorees need no further introduction. But at this time, we'd like to ask each of those gridiron standouts to come to the podium individually and share with us their experience as high school, college, and professional athletes. First, of course, is Craig Clemens. Craig, as you come to the podium, I'd like to have your family take a bow so we can recognize them. Craig Clemens.
Thank you. After that speech, good night. You stole from all of us. I will check your parking and your coats at the door. Thank you very much. What's going on, bro?
to come represent.
Gee, money. Oh, you're a tough act to follow, but guess what? Dave's got to follow me. Holla! Yeah. Well, I'm gonna. I love to have fun, but I'm going to be serious. And I talked to the doctor, and he said it's okay that. We have concussions, right? And there's a big old lawsuit, $700 million minimum. And I've had a few concussions, and I've given a few. But when I talk tonight and share some feelings, I think I'm going to stick strictly to my notes, so I'm not going to entertain. But as we get older, and I'm 65, we have those senior moments. Oh, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to stick to the script because there's some important things I want to say, and they're taping it, and I want to make sure it's covered. But let me give you a disclaimer. Today it's not about me. Yes, I was a pretty good athlete and football player. I want to use this platform today to shed light to and on important people who educated me, who loved me, inspired me to become a sports hero. However, knowing what I know now about football, what I know about concussions, I wouldn't let my son or my grandson play today, or my daughter. She's too violent. I was too violent. Having said all that, I'll say this. My favorite trophy in my trophy case is a Ray Kroc Award, presented to me by Benny Scott, of all people. The name of the award is a Press On Award. Let me read what it says. Persistence. Nothing takes the place of it. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education alone will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. People, that was a secret ingredient for Ray Kroc he used to start McDonald's fast food restaurant. There's a blueprint. Benny Scott used it to build his franchise and business. And Dick Pearson and Chuck Asher used persistence and determination to become a Hall of Fame player and coach. Then he taught his students and players. We reap the benefits of these incredible skills. Thanks, Coach. Just like football has three phases: offense, defense, and specialty teams. We heard a lot about dreams from our initial speaker. Dreams are similar to that. You have people who teach you to dream, your parents, educators. You have people who inspire the dream. For me, it was Tommy Vaughn, Bobby Ferguson, and Troy. The story is, and I tell a story that Danny Bolden and I, one of my good friends, and we used to go to Troy, Ohio, to go swimming. Look at the girls. And we'd always pass by a ice cream place on the right-hand side just as you go into Troy, and it had home of the All-Americans, Tommy Vaughn and Bobby Ferguson, whoever they were. Well, those are the people that inspired me. Then you have what I call the protector of the dreams, William M. McCullough. Bill McCullough is a primary reason Piqua is a city of dreams. When you go home tonight, Google William M. McCullough. You'll find out he was a constitutional lawyer, a champion of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. William McCullough was a member of the United States House of Representatives, Speaker of the House from 1939 to 1944 from Ohio. Piqua, Ohio. That's a homeboy. Well, it's, after reading about, the Civil Rights Act, and this year was the 50th anniversary. See, we celebrate July 2 because of Jennifer. That's her birthday. So we've been celebrating the Civil Rights Act and Jennifer for years, so her mother said, I sent you an email. See, we email and text. I don't know about you guys, married people for 30, 40 years. We communicate, but we're using the new techniques. So it became clear, when I grew up without racism and discrimination in Piqua, I wondered what happened, but it became perfectly clear when I was reading the article, and we heard all about what great works this man has done. It did become clear that I was protected long before I knew about it. In 1971, I played in the North-South All-Star game. Selected, played in the All-Star game in Montgomery, Alabama. And Teresa and I went, she went down there. We came from Iowa and Ohio, so we had winter clothes. All we had was winter clothes, hoods and sweatshirts and stuff like that, and 80 degrees down in Montgomery, Alabama. True story, yeah. So we went shopping for shorts and T-shirts, just summer clothes. Went to a department store in Montgomery and picked out some things. And the man said, she can shop here, but you can't. And he was nice and explained it all. And he says that there's a place called The Bottom or some place like that, or Bassett Avenue, where the colored people shop. And this is 1971. And so, embarrassed and insulted, we left the store. Later that evening after dinner, we went to the local movie theater. Paid our money, we're out on, I think we gave Mother of the Kids in Ohio, and we were out I played 2 games in the South, so this was one of the first games that I was going to play. So embarrassed, like I said, and insulted, we left the store, went to a movie that night, paid our money, went in, and guess what? After past the curtains, you go in there and stuff like that. It said, "Coloreds sit upstairs." I'm looking at Teresa. Teresa looking at me. Who's colored? I'm not gonna. 7 years after the Civil Rights Act, 1964, we experienced racial discrimination. In closing, let me say thank you to Bill McCullough, because he was a protector of the dream, mine and yours. I was 14 years old in the 9th grade when it became law. 7 years later, we would feel the ugly pain of discrimination. We were grown. I was 21, Risa was 20 or so. We had kids of our own. Scared, humiliated, and confused, Risa decided to go back home instead of continuing the vacation with me and enjoying some of the fruits of our labor. I cannot imagine my not being able to shop at Barclays. They bought me my first bicycle at Firestone's. We're in Piqua now. J.C. Penney's, the Piqua Theater when we were growing up, they had dollar movies. I went to the movie 5 days a week. Flash Public Library, the bus station magazines. I mean, these are memories that I have in Piqua. Nobody bothered me. I worked at the Coke plant. My wife, Risa, her daughter, she taught baton at the Coke plant. No discrimination. I could never imagine not going to the YMCA or Camp Wakanda. There you go, people. You live in and around the city of dreams. Bill McCullough protected the dream of yours and mine long before I knew it. Without the protection of the Civil Rights Act 1964, I may not have had the confidence, freedom, or the opportunity to express my skills and ability, let alone my hopes and dreams. Thanks for the persistence and determination of William and McCullough to do the right thing. I say thank you to the city of Piqua for making all my dreams come true. May God bless you all and all your dreams come true. And thank you, and press on.
While our next speaker, Dave Gallagher, comes to the podium, would you please welcome Betty and Trish Gallagher. Gals.
15 minutes? Really? Okay, everybody, look at your watches. You can time me. Tony, great speech. Craig, great speech. What am I going to say now? A couple shout outs. One to Chip Hare. Chip was my go-to guy for this weekend. Dotted all the I's, crossed the T's, and got me where I needed to be. I know he's had a lot of help in organizing this, but he's also got a full-time job, as I understand it, which can be pretty busy this time of year, but he really put together a great weekend as we continue tonight. So thank you, Chip, for the work you did. This is all about thanking those who got you. These are about the shoulders you stood on to achieve the goals that you wanted. And so I'm going to be thanking some people tonight. I want to start out by thanking my wife, Betty. Betty and I, we've been together about 6 years now, and we're still getting to know each other. And this weekend has been an eye-opener for her. I think she's learning how I'm wired and how I tick, and she understands now where I come from. And where I come from is Piqua, and everything that represents, not only as an athlete, but as a citizen. So thanks for coming, Betty. Thanks for standing in the background and while I assume the limelight with my other honorees. I am who I am today because of the game of football, period. Period. Everything I am, everything I've accomplished, everything I do is because of the game of football. Because football is the ultimate team sport. It's made up of everything that we experience in our lives. It's already been alluded to: hard work, persistence, getting knocked down and getting back up, having goals, and probably most importantly is community. Community with your teammates, sharing the hard work, sharing the responsibility, and ultimately sharing in the victories. And there's certainly been a lot of them in my life, and I'm certainly very thankful for that. I'm going to be thanking two people especially tonight. First is my father, the late Dr. John Gallagher. I've had more people come up to me and say what a great man he was. I've had more people come up and say he delivered me, and he delivered my brother, and he was there when I needed him. And I knew I wanted to be a doctor from the very beginning. I was being interviewed for an article the other day, and the thought from the writer was, so football inspired you to become a doctor? And I said, well, not really. Football kind of got in the way. I always wanted to be a doctor. Second grade, I was telling people I'm going to be like my dad. And as corny as that sounds, that's exactly the truth. I hope that someday people will come up to my kids and say, I knew your dad. Maybe in a little different way, but that's what I wanted. I wanted the respect that he garnered. I wanted the love that he shared, and that will continue to be my goal until my dying day. Now, the next person is, as Craig said, we're here to celebrate the people who got us here. And, as the saying goes, the older I get, the better I was. And after a weekend like this, you kind of feel that way. I say, this is pretty nice. I mean, the hardware and the glitter and the accolades are wonderful. But to be honest with you, I was a very average football player, and Chuck may tell you differently, but I can remember Chuck coming to town, and it was a whole new vibe. It was a whole new excitement, and I couldn't wait to play for the Indians, and that was because of him. But other than our first year when Craig and I shared the backfield, and we had, I think, Jesse Williams and Gail Clark were the only ones in our way of a perfect season. My junior and senior year were they were very average. And this was back in the day when there wasn't Rivals.com and there weren't Nike camps where you go and show off your wares. It was just all by word of mouth. And I was able to play for one of the great legendary college coaches, Bo Schembechler. And the reason that is because Chuck Asher knew Gary Moeller, and Gary Moeller recruited me. Gary Moeller never saw me play football. He watched me play basketball in the district championships, which we won that year. Yay. And so they took a gamble, and I think they took that gamble because of Coach Asher. Coach Asher probably said something like, it'd be nice to have a Craig Clemens every year, but a whole team of Gallaghers isn't too bad either. So anyway, Coach, when you mentioned at halftime you had a little energy discussion. I can remember one time, was it Bill Earnhardt? He was our defensive line coach. He's about 6'5", 250. We had a particularly bad first half. I think it was probably one of those many times we never came close to stopping Gordon Bell from Troy. And he came in, and he wouldn't let us out of the locker room until we went through him. And I don't know, Mike Brookhart and Steve Albright, you probably remember that. And I think we were waiting for Dave Reed to lead the charge, and we finally got out of the locker room. But anyway, but Coach Asher is, he's one of the two most important people in my life. He really is. And I thank him for getting this organized. I thank him for being here, and his wonderful wife Jo, and for all the great memories we had, all the spaghetti dinners. Because what you provided maybe wasn't a lot of wins against a lot of losses, but it was a foundation. When I went to Michigan, there were all sorts of talent, all sorts of all-state, all-Americans up there. But I found that I was very well prepared about the fundamentals of football, the fundamentals of teamwork, and of persistence. And as a result, I took advantage of the opportunities that were provided, and the rest is history. So, Chuck, thank you from deep in my heart. Thank you all for this great weekend. I tell people, I'm from Piqua, and you should be surprised how many people know where that is. And I take great pride in that. So thanks for this great weekend, and have a great night.
Thank you, David. As our next speaker, Quinn Pitcock, comes to the podium, would you recognize his family and friends who are with us tonight?
First, I want to say thanks for having me tonight. It's a great honor. And also, thanks to Chip, where you at? I made it. I know he was worried all week. We had played a lot of phone tag, a lot of messages back and forth. And he said he was even worried too. But, I was, last week, a week from today, I was playing. I mean, I'm currently still playing. And it made a trip out here, from Arizona all the way to here to be here tonight. I still have to fly back and then drive home another 3 days. But there's no other place I want to be here than here right now. So thanks for all the troubles I've given you, and I hope a friendship continues. Maybe. I also want to like to thank my family. As you see, got great support that came here tonight, and it's not just tonight. It's been my whole life, academically and football. They've been to all my games, high school, college, NFL, not all games, but arena football as much as I could. And it's that's what Piqua was about. It's about family, and the support they've given me over the years has really helped me get to where I'm at. I also like to thank all my coaches throughout the year in track, football, starting from Pee Wee all the way up to Coach Neese. Every one of them is a product of me. What I've done in my life is the teachings of them, and where I've gotten to succeed to where I'm at today. I also like to thank everyone in this room in the city of Piqua, especially this room. As Tony's here as the ambassador of the NFL, and also thank you for being here too. Didn't miss you. I feel like I stand up here today as a Piqua's ambassador, representing everyone in here, and everyone in this room. I was talking to a lot of people earlier about I have a story about you, Quinn. You remember this, you remember that. I don't remember them all because, I have a lot of concussions too. I mean, I zone out a lot. Just like the other night, I forgot what I was going to say. Tonight, I wrote it down. And not just winging it, but when I was told, tonight I was talking to a few people, and I heard this many times tonight, the stories, about where I was at, maybe football, just being out in the city and doing this and that. And I heard over and over tonight, they said, you don't realize how much you affected us. And you may not know that, but I want to tell you guys, you don't realize how much each one of you, it's like they say, it takes a city or a town, to raise a man or a boy, or man, I hope now. But it's true, because every single one, especially in this room, personally has been a part of my life, either academically or in sports. And I want to thank everyone in this room, and everybody give a hand to yourself, because I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for you guys. Excuse me. Now, I'm supposed to talk about high school, college, and NFL. So I'll get to that right here. I'm going to say this is the part, life in a full circle. I was talking to somebody the other day. It's funny how sometimes your life goes in a full circle, and I'm standing here today with that feeling. Starting with high school, I had the honor to speak to the players last night before the game, and one of the things I said was, it's all about the first step, your get off as a D lineman. And that's one of the things that Coach Neese taught me, closing the gap between you and the offensive lineman. And, of course he's taught me many other things, but that's one of the biggest things that helped me get to college at Ohio State and be able to get, a scholarship, and I want to thank him for that. And I've told him many times, thank you. It's so simple, the basics of just getting off your first step, and sometimes even in life, it's taking that big leap forward, that step. You don't know what's going to happen, but if you take that first step, good things will happen. And I want to thank him again for that. Also, memories of, here in high school. The film he showed also was kind of funny, because it was some of the craziest memories I had here in high school. One was me playing the triangle, meat, defense, running back, whatever you want to call it. What?
Meat play.
Meat play, diamond play.
Big man out front.
But we had a tough game against Sydney, and we tied it up. And I went to coach and said, "Give me the ball." I went in there, touchdown. Luckily, I ran through everybody. He was nervous. He was a little nervous. He was like,
Take his hand pads off. Take the pads off.
then he decided, he said, "Why not? Let's go for 2." He gave it to me again. And I mean, it is kind of selfish, but at the same time, it's a proud moment in my life because it wasn't a position I really played. Seeing the paper, Piqua 8, Sydney 0. It is. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, it was a fun day in my life, and I mean, the funny thing, at the same time that game, they were worried about me on defensive line, and they were high-lowing me. And one chopping out my knees, the other one literally jumping and grabbing the back of my pads and pulling me down. And most people know me, I'm not a very aggressive or mean guy. I mean, in a social setting, a football field, yes, aggressive. But I know, other than I guess apparently I curse a lot, I didn't know that. Like I said, I just came from a locker room a week ago, so it's really relevant. But again, on the film it showed, and I've been wanting to see this film for a while, they had done this all game, and I don't know what quarter it was, and I gave up, and I literally took the guy, picked him up, and body slammed him like a WWE. But, WWE is, it's acting love. This was me, So it was just funny, like, the film that he brought up were like the most odd things, but they're like some of the greatest memories I have from Piqua. I know Dwayne wanted me to talk about the rings I'm wearing tonight, so that's what I'm going to talk about with Ohio State. I have right here, I came in 2000, went to Ohio State, my redshirt freshman year. This is, you have enough pictures of me, you know that. I have to get a restraining order. So this ring right here is the official ring, my redshirt freshman year from the Fiesta Bowl against Miami, national championship game when we won. I think it was 31-24. That was the wrong year. So that's the official one. The next one I'm wearing is from that same year, but this was given from the team. We were Big Ten champions, again national champions. And on this one, it has a 14-9. We beat Michigan that year. Hey, it's all about Big Ten now. I like Michigan, I like Iowa, and yeah, that's all we got. Once you're in the NFL, it's all about your conference. It's not always about against them. Last one here, I'm not going to try to get it off. Swollen knuckles. It was my senior year, and this was for the outright Big Ten, outright. And my years, we won the Big Ten, or shared the Big Ten. This is, I think, I don't know how many years, but it had been at least 10 years or something that we had not won that straight outright Big Ten championship. And that's the ring from that year that he wanted to talk about. And, oh wait, hold on, one more thing. I mean, just like most people, I put one pant leg in at a time. I was able to get, there's 4 of them. My mom's wearing the first one. And here's the other 3, my gold pants. And again, like I said, these are all products of you guys. I would never get to where I was at without that. Moving on to the NFL, I was lucky enough, I want to say, to be drafted by the Colts and go to the NFL. But like many people these days, I think at the time, I was not a professional athlete. I was just happy to be there. And it's taken me 7 years since then to realize that and become a true professional, as I'll speak later about with arena football. Early on, after I retired, after personal battles and everything, Bill Pulling, the president of the Colts, I remember reading a quote. He said, basically, kind of gave me a stab saying, "That boy from Ohio State." It stung. and I was mad at him for years. And for years, I was trying to go back to the NFL. I went to Seattle, Detroit, went to camp and everything. And I did it out of spite against him. And it took me for a while to realize, Quinn, stop doing it for other people, do it for yourself. And it took me a long time to realize that. And as I get to it later on, I'll talk about that. I started finally playing football for myself, especially when I started watching my brother play at Ball State. I started picking out, reading the O-line, knew what to call the play on defense, offense before anybody else, and that's when I knew I started missing it. Once you lose something, you don't realize what you have until you lost it, and that's what I went through. But I was also coming back at the wrong reasons. After that, I had an opportunity to go to the AFL, Arena Football League. And it's been a really crazy ride. It's some call it a beer league, because it's not a paying league. I mean, you really do it for the love of the game. And a lot of guys go play with hopes of going to the NFL, back to the NFL, or going to get a chance for the first time, and very few do. And here's a short breakdown of my AFL career. And I've been on injury reserve 4 times. I had a shoulder surgery, and my knee problem twice this year. In 3 years, this has all happened. And like I said, 2 surgeries, and I've won one Arena Bowl championship last week. And it took me 7 years to this date to finally feel like I became a professional athlete. And I'm proud of where I'm at today. Even though NFL didn't work out like it did, I'm happy where I am, and I love everyone in here, and I appreciate it, and thank you for being here tonight. Thank you. I'm sorry. I got one more. Please sit down. I got one more thing. Sorry. It's on my phone, so I forgot to. This is a quote. 7 years ago, like I said, I was having some problems, and someone bequeathed a book to me, and it was called "As a Man Thinketh" by James Allen. And so 7 years ago today, I tried to read it a few times, could never finish it. It's a small little book if anybody's ever seen it. And I would read it, but I could not comprehend what I was reading, so I just stopped reading it. And I'll read it once, but I advise you to look it up tonight or ask me about it, because this quote right here is really what brought down my demise in 7 years ago in 2007. And I feel like it was really what is, carrying me forward to where I am today. Man is made or unmade by himself. In the armory of thought, he forges the weapons by which he destroys himself. He also fashions the tools with which he builds for himself heavenly mansions of joy and strength and peace. Thank you again. God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen, Quinn Piqua. As our next speaker, Brandon Sane, comes to the podium, would you recognize his family and friends who are joining us tonight?
All right, this is amazing. I'm a fan. I'm not lying. I want to thank you all, Craig, Dave, Matt, who's not here, Quinn, and of course my family and friends at the table. I'm just a little boy from Piqua, Ohio, born 1988, Piqua Memorial Hospital, 4 pounds. I've gained a couple since then. It's just crazy. I played football over in Pittsburgh, Little League football, and to think that I would ever be standing here in front of so many people speaking never crossed my mind. I come from a single mother, 2 little sisters. Never really had a father figure. He was in and out for my entire childhood. But there were always coaches along the way, and that's kind of, I think, what this is about a little bit. And it might not be a football coach, baseball coach, but life coach, mentor, father figure, whatever it is. That's why I'm here to kind of thank them. I want to start with my experience in Piqua. I was not always the best athlete. I'm not gonna lie. I've always had a little bit of speed, but the size thing was what I was lacking. I guess I could pull out some pictures of me back in 7th grade with a little tiny bird neck and itty bitty legs, and you would have never thought that I would have ended up where I ended up. But I'd like to thank Coach Neese for the nice weight room program he put together for me. So Piqua High School. I got there back in 04. Yeah, 04, 05, 03, 4, 5, and 6, and 7. I think that adds up to 4 years. It doesn't. It's 5 years. All right. It was close. Yeah. But it was definitely the best time of my life. I'm going to spend more time talking about the Piqua Indians than I will about the Ohio State Buckeyes or the Green Bay Packers. Just because that time really kind of was the foundation for the rest of my life. The things I learned there were, pivotal for my future, whether it was football or what have you. Started out playing running back. My sophomore year, we were 4-6. Not much, I didn't get much on film. I never even thought that I was going to go to college to play football. Get into the weight room, get into the film study, and get into the playbook, and move on. Now I had that one thing going for me was speed. I ran track at Piqua. I had some great times there, some great accolades, but it just wasn't the same. Back out on the football field with my teammates was all I could ever ask for. You got 10 other guys around you sweating, dying, wanting to do what they could for you, and that's all I could have asked for. So going to my junior and senior year in Piqua, things started to look up. We went 6-4, had a chance to make the playoffs. A couple things didn't go our way my junior year, but we knew that we had a chance. And I think going into my senior year, and I think my teammate Jay here could say the same thing, we all had kind of an idea that if we took it one game at a time, played as a team, and really did what we had to do every single game, listened to the coaches, we could do it. Now about that same time, my senior year, entered the Whitaker family, and that was a pivotal moment in my life. Mentioned not having a father figure. Well, Jerry Whitaker is the epitome of a father figure. I'd like to thank him first here tonight. I never really had anywhere to go. I could go home to our small apartment, duplex, with my mother and my 2 sisters, but going over there to the Whitakers was my home away from home. And that was kind of where I learned how to be a man, how to be respectful, and how to learn how to treat people. And I think that set me up for that football year, for that football season, because I learned that it's not about me. It's never going to be about me. It's always about those around me. I think that if I can portray who I am tonight, that's what I'm trying to get across. I'm a humble person. I know a lot of you are surprised to see me up here talking right now, but I'm going to do my best. I don't have any notes. I'm speaking from the heart. But that year, I met Kylie, my now wife and girlfriend, and she was been there through this entire process. She was there from my junior year, 17, 16 years old, till now when I'm 25. And I can't thank her enough. I don't want to look over there, I might cry, but I really can't. It's been an amazing 8, 9, 10 years, whatever it is that apparently, yeah. I'm struggling to do math tonight, but it's been awesome. She's been there for me through everything. When I've had my doubts, been down on myself, or whatever have you, she's been there, and I'd like to thank her wholeheartedly and with the utmost love. I can't even, we'll move on because going into my senior year in Piqua, I had already committed to Ohio State my junior year, so it was kind of that added pressure wasn't there. so I could just play football. I could go out, I knew the playbook, I knew what we had to do, just go out and play, have fun. And that's all I wanted to do. And that's what we did. We were able to bring back the national, I wish, the state championship that year. That's the best memory I have, looking back and thinking back to the smiles on the faces of my teammates that year. I can't imagine not being able to enjoy that because, I mean, I had done it in track. I'd won a couple state championships, but you look around and it's just me. But there on the football field in Massillon, in the negative whatever degree weather, it was the best moment of my life, kind of. So moving forward, I get to Ohio State. I think that I had one of the best coaches to ever coach at Ohio State, Coach Jim Tressel. I'll stand by him to this day. Love the guy. When I got there, they had just, I think, lost to Florida the previous year in the national championship, but hopes were still high. But I'm going to abbreviate. I'm not going to go year by year here. I got there. We always thought we were going to win a national championship, and I'm definitely jealous of Quinn that I never got one. But I did learn how to be a man there. I grew up, made some great friends, and got one heck of an education that's kind of set me up where I am today. And you wouldn't think that I was an econ major with my math, but I was. But the thing about Ohio State was, I mean, I have four rings that I didn't bring today. I just have my wedding ring on. I have 4 Big Ten championships, but inscribed on the inside of each one of those rings, it says Sacred Brotherhood. And that's really what it was. I mean, that's an elite group of young men and coaches that come together and work towards one common goal. And to be able to do that for 4 years, grow up, become a man with someone at the young age of 18 to the still young age of 22 was by far the most awesome, life-changing experience that Ohio State could have afforded me. And I'd like to thank, although they're not here, but my teammates, my coaches at Ohio State, because that was an awesome time in my life. I mean, even though every time I come back to Piqua, 4 or 5 people like to tell me that Jim Tressel didn't use me correctly. but I think that, I mean, I did whatever I had to do to help the team win, and maybe I wasn't the best always. And I'm able to say that because I feel like I have been given more than I should have. I'm very humbled to be here, and I was very humbled to go to the NFL. I was an undrafted free agent just 3 years ago. Went up to Green Bay the year after the lockout. It was kind of a gut check for Kylie and I. I got called the day the lockout ended, had to make a decision where I was going that night and left noon the next day. And I looked at Kylie, she was then my girlfriend, was like, are we really gonna do this? Is it worth it? And we both decided that, this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Let's go for it. So go up to Green Bay, go through one of the hardest camps I've ever been through. I mean, it's no 3 days at Piqua or 2 days at Ohio State, but it was NFL football. It was just different. Plus, I had 2 days to learn the entire playbook, so that didn't help. But the coaches understand that. They just want to see you out there and not making the same mistake twice. And that was kind of how I prided myself. Be smart on the field by doing your homework before you get on the field. And that is really how I try to, live my life today. I was able to make the team. I had the unfortunate experience of getting released, but I was signed to the practice squad the next day. And that was just another humbling experience. I mean, I didn't get drafted. That was okay. I didn't really expect to get drafted. I didn't have the best college career. But I thought that I performed well enough in the preseason to make the team. And I think that actually getting released, being humbled, and then ultimately making the practice squad really helped me in the next 2 years that I spent there. The business that is the NFL really taught me time management, how to be a professional, and definitely, how to live on my own for the first time in a weird city, which I've done a couple times. Not weird, but in a new city. Yeah, that's. But I'd like to credit that NFL experience, that Green Bay Packer experience, that kind of that definitely set me up to where I am, because I made some great connections there that ultimately led to where I am today in life. I think that if I wouldn't have made it to the NFL, I'd be the same guy. But it set me up financially and professionally to be able to have my beautiful son, Gray, who hopefully you've all been able to see smile at you. He's an awesome kid. He's not here, though. He's sleeping. But I do want to get to a couple more thanks, because everybody deserves it. I thank my teammates at Piqua. I want to thank all of you in this room today. I want to thank everybody that got us all together for this. I mean, I'm the young buck here, just 25 years old, and I haven't been out of the game for that long, so my memories are still fresh. But I can't believe I'm in the presence of these couple of guys that are here. I wish Matt could have made it too, because it would have been awesome to hear him speak, because I know he's got a great story. But thank you all, and hopefully I didn't bore you.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you've probably noticed, Matt Finkus isn't with us this evening, and let me explain why. He's part of a broadcast team, and they handle all of the Ohio State football games, so he was part of the broadcast football team that carried the Ohio State-Navy game. He thought that they would wrap it up in time for him to be here, but we're not so sure that he's going to make it. But if he walks in, we're going to call him to the podium.
He's probably a couple miles away.
Well, then I tell you what, we're going to proceed then. Thanks, Heinz. We'll wait for Matt to get here for. We'd anticipated Heinz' dad to make a few remarks, but he said that you better have the mute button, and so I don't think we really need that. So Heinz, we're going to excuse you, but nice to have you and Sandy with us this evening. Let's recognize them first. These five gentlemen and Tony Stewart have many stories to tell. But at this time, we'd like to ask all of you in the audience to ask them a question or make a comment. And as you raise your hand, I'll ask you what your question might be, and we'll get the honoree to come to the microphone and answer that question. I know that the planning committee has a few questions, but we'll save ours until yours are answered. Anybody want to start the questioning? Ed Perk.
I want to know how Craig ended up at Iowa.
Ed Perk wants to know the story of why Craig Clemens went to Iowa. He had a chance to go every place. He goes to Iowa. Listen to this story. And if he doesn't tell you the story, I will.
You ought to be glad you're old.
I wanted to go to Southern Cal. I went everywhere. I finally took a trip to Iowa. There was a guy by the name of Wayne Fonts. You know him as Detroit Lions Wayne Fonts. He drafted Barry Sanders. That's his claim to fame. Remember? Yeah. Okay, so he was recruiting out of Dayton. That was his area. So he came up and Coach Asher said, "Hey, got some letters." And I always went through Coach Asher. He helped me go to all the schools. I visited Ohio State twice. I was thinking about going to Miami of Ohio. All his ex-coaches that helped him and developed him, he was going to send me to one of them. He tried to send me to Miami of Ohio. I would have gone to Miami of Ohio. I think Your coach spoke at our 68 banquet. I was talking to him. I think 2 or 3 days later, he got hired by Michigan. So I said, I know, thanks. And so, it's my story. So here he comes right now. Come on up. Yeah. Yeah. So as I finish my story, we're going to have Mr. Finkus up here. So I went to the University of Iowa on a visit. A guy by the name of Dennis Green showed me around campus and everything. Dennis Green of the Minnesota Vikings and things like this. And so the weekend was planned with a basketball game on Friday night and a concert on Saturday night. The basketball game was outstanding. I saw the Supremes. We partied all weekend. I said, oh, hell yeah. I said, if this is the way they do this in Iowa, I'm coming 700 miles. That's a true story.
That had to be our first question. Matt Finkus is with us, coming back, talking about the Ohio State-Navy game. But Matt, the podium is yours.
Thank you. It really is an honor to be here. I wanted to thank Mr. Bachman, Chip Hare, Ed Perk, everyone who put this on. I know talking to the guys last night, this really was a special event for us coming back and being a part of this. Getting a chance to come back to the community, see some great faces. Wanted to thank Coach Magato, Coach Neese, who I played under, who taught me a ton. My parents who are here, Dad and Sandy, my wife who's here as well, who rode with me in the car going 90 over here, scared to death. She's like, we're not driving like this on the way home, are we? I'm like, no, just to get here and we'll be okay. But, we were talking to the team last night, and every guy was kind of contributing a little something. And, Dave Gallagher said something that really resonated with me, that, the locker room at Piqua is just like every other locker room that these guys played in. The guys in there, the people that you're around, the people that you surround yourself with, the friendships you make for life. Next week I'm going to Ryan Hume's 40th birthday party, a guy that I played, high school football with. I see the guys I play college with all the time. I stay in contact with the guys I played in the NFL with. Playing football is a way to build a family. It really is. I mean, you spend so much time in those locker rooms, on those practice fields, that becomes your second family. And it all started right here in Piqua for all of us. And it really is it's a special feeling and a special occasion when you've been able to make it to that level, to whether it's college, whether it's the NFL, to be able to look back and know where you came from. And I know that the NFL has taken all of us in a lot of different directions, in Chicago and Indianapolis and Detroit and Cincinnati and all over the place, for me in New York and Washington. And, living in those big cities, there's always a chance you lose yourself a little bit. And I think that's really important that you take a piece of Piqua with you wherever you go, and not just the people that call you, that support you, that send you letters, that send you cards, but what you learn here and what the teachers in the school, what the coaches, what your friends have taught you over the years. You take that with you wherever you go. And I think that's probably something that gets lost in a lot of bigger communities, but something that's very special about a community our size and a community that's built like ours. That you can take that little piece of Piqua with you, whether it's in Detroit, whether it's in New York City, and you have that moral base and you have that value base to build your life off of. So if there's anything that I took away from being here in Piqua, there's a ton of great memories. Like I said, Coach Magato yelling at me after I got kicked out of the Trotwood game for doing something bad. Not waking up on time in the summer, and Coach Neese making me run over here to Edison, back again and again. And I mean, there's a ton of great memories, beating Troy in that playoff game in 1992. Yeah. I had a lot of hits to the head, so years get shaky with me. But so many great memories and so many great people. And like I said, you know, the teammates that I had have meant a ton to me, and the people that I've had in my life just in this community have meant a ton to me as well. I can't tell you how many cards and letters that I'm sure all of us have gotten when you're at Ohio State or when you're at Iowa or when you're at Michigan of someone in Piqua just sending you a little letter of support or just a something that tells you that they're still thinking about you. And that's what's so special, and that's why, again, I appreciate you guys having me back here, and I appreciate all that everyone did to bring this all together, and thank you very much.
Matt Finkus, ladies and gentlemen. Back to the questions and answers. The Supremes is what got Greg Clement to Iowa. How about another question? I've got a couple if you don't. How about somebody giving well, let me ask. Go, there's another one. Chuck Asher.
I want to know how Dave ever got into med school after his recruiting trip to Michigan.
How did Dave get into med school after his recruiting trip? I don't know if I've heard this one, David.
Oh, hell no. So I'm going up to Ann Arbor, and I get I take a flight out of Columbus on this, the Songbird from Sky King. I mean, this thing, and I had nothing to eat. I was too nervous to eat anything. So we got up there, and Gary Moeller picks me up at the airport. We go right to the medical school, and we meet Dr. Heinerman, who is the dean of students there, dean of admissions. And he says, "Well, let's go for a little tour." I said, "Oh, okay, let's do it." So first thing we go to is everyone done eating, by the way? First place we go to is the kidney dialysis unit. And we're standing there in the door, and then Dr. Heinerman is explaining what this is all about, and I'm very interested, of course, and want to make a good impression. And the one guy on the end bed, I don't know if you know renal patients, but they don't have a real good color about them anyway. And this guy, for some reason, he pulled his IV out, and there was blood everywhere. And I had enough strength about me to turn around and passed out on the floor. All right, so here I'm trying to impress Coach Moeller, who's never seen me play football, by the way. And and of course, the first thing you say, I'm okay. And I get my wits about me, and and I'm still just a little lightheaded. We get on the elevator, and we're going down somewhere. And we went down to the morgue. And we're standing there, and they're right in the middle of an autopsy. And is everyone done eating, by the way? I mean, there is a smell, but we won't go into that. And and for the second time, I almost hit the floor again. And I expected some sympathy, but Moeller just was laughing his butt off. And believe it or not, they still took me. And when I went to apply for med school and Dr. Heinerman was still there, he kind of said, "Okay, we'll take a shot." It's okay. But that's what happened. Chuck, thanks for bringing that up.
Great story. Next question, coming from you. Okay, Bob Luby.
This is for Dave also.
Dave Gallagher. Go ahead.
You played for legendary coach Bo. Talk a little bit about Bo, and is there one situation maybe that stands out in your mind about Bo? Because he had a reputation for being kind of an aggressive guy, I'll say, huh?
Well, and you, of course, all you Buckeyes, you didn't know Woody. I mean, you knew of Woody, but you never played for him. But I mean, everyone says that Bo was the little Woody, and I have every reason to believe that. I think the thing that stood out about Bo was his incredible devotion to his players. And it was never more apparent than in that 1973 game, the 10-10 tie, where, and there was certainly controversy about that, but Ohio State was voted to go to the Rose Bowl, and they kicked SC's ass, so that's good. That's good. But Bo was so distraught. He was so angry. And I just remember seeing him on TV, and he was never at a loss for words, but he was almost couldn't speak. He was so angry. And he wasn't angry at the athletic directors or at Ohio State or anyone else. He was angry that his players weren't going to get the chance to play again. Because this was back in the day when there were like 6 bowl games. And the Big Ten went to the Rose Bowl, and if you didn't go to the Rose Bowl, you didn't go anywhere. So these players that he had demanded devotion from, demanded hard work, now they were not going to see the fruits of their labor. And, you know, that's all past history, I understand. But, Bob, to answer your question, that we play for coaches we believe in. And when those coaches return that belief, it's just the perfect storm. And I'm sure Woody was that way. I just think that that's what I remember most about him. He demanded, but he was very gracious in those demands. So, thank you.
Okay, next question. Bob Doherty.
For Brandon, you still hold the state record, Division I, 10, 3, 4, and 100 meters, 400 meters. Did you ever consider continuing track, pursuing a track career, I would say?
With all your success in track, did you think about doing anything with it after you got to high school? That's the question, Brandon.
I was done. No, so it's 10, 3, 8. So you gave me 400s. I'm not that fast. But no, I did. I tried one time. I went out in between my junior and senior year. I ran indoor track. I practiced with the indoor track team, and it was just way too much. So I tried to go to school, play work out for the football team, then to go to track practice, study, hang out with Kylie, eat dinner, do homework. It was just too much for me, and I thought I had a good thing going, so I kind of backed out. But I do. Some days I wish that I would have done that. A lot less hits to the head, but I talked about it earlier in my quick chat that football has always been my passion. So, yeah.
Stay right here. I'm going to ask you. Last evening, we reviewed the honors that these 5 have accomplished. One of the things we didn't do is talk about their high school careers. I'd like Brandon to respond to being Ohio's Mr. Football in his senior year. Tell us about it, Brandon.
Well, I mean, it's pretty cool. It's something I can rub into my best friend Dane Sanzenbacher's face because he was on the, on the ballot, and I beat him out for it, so I'll always have that. But it was definitely a great honor. I couldn't imagine, receiving it. I never even thought. I don't even know if I knew of it before the week going in. And to this day, I still think that they should take the signs down and on the way in, because I mean I'm just another what is it, Piqua like everybody else. I think that it's a great honor. I mean, I had a great year, but it was, I had a supporting cast around me that deserves just as much credit. So, yeah.
How about a question from the audience? Okay, I'd like to ask Quinn Pitcock a question. Quinn Pitcock, how about come up here and tell us what it's like to be a teammate of Peyton Manning?
Yeah, I had the opportunity to play with Peyton. The biggest thing I usually tell people, there's a commercial he had a few years back for Reebok, and I think he was a cartoon character or a stencil running around or something like that, and the cartoon made him look very unathletic. And the thing is, he runs on the field unathletic, and he looks like a goofball, but he jokes like a goofball too, and he's I had fun with him. You know, I considered him my friend at the time when I was there, but you know, at the same time, he was the franchise of the team and is continued the franchise of Denver. And as I was talking to Dwayne a little early on in my career, you know, trying to impress everybody with the Colts, I you know, went through Jeff Saturday, we're going through like, you know, somewhat easy drills, but I was taking my first step and blowing through Jeff Saturday, and I tried to duck from Peyton as he was throwing the ball, and he hit his thumb on my helmet. And yeah, you don't do that. I was ready to pack my car and go home after the day because yeah, you know, every curse word you can think of from every single coach that day. And I actually didn't see the practice for the rest of that day. I was banned from practice. But, you know, he's a great guy. You know, when I was there, he would, you know, he you know, gives love to his old linemen, buys them gifts. You know, he's a very giving guy. As you see in the community, he's got the Children's Hospital and everything. And he does, you know, SNL. And, you know, all this, you know, he's a very community guy. And what you see on TV, him being a goofball, that's who he is in real life. And, you know, I had a lot of fun with, you know, being able to say I was able to play with him. And like I said, I consider him a friend.
Thanks. Tom Hudson either has to go to the restroom or he has a question. Tom?
This is for Quinn to get back up.
Back on podium, Quinn.
On Monday, or I forget what year he was with the Colts, we had a Monday night football game and we had a Miami County night, Troy versus Piqua on Monday Night Football. Chris Dillman, Quinn Pitcock. Tell me about that evening. Did you have any interaction with Chris Dillman that night? Because you were on the line, he was on the offensive guard blocking for LT.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, so yeah, because he was from Troy, yeah. Once again, head injuries I had to think about. Yeah, he definitely, that game, you could tell he was gunning for me for, you know, Piqua-Troy rivalry, and I actually had a pretty good game against him. And you can tell after the game he was mad, and I mean, he was, you know, I mean, I don't know how many years out from me, but he was all tatted up by then, big all down his arm, but it was a fun time. And actually, I was actually again proud, and you talked after the game, congratulating, you know, being from the, you know, Greater Miami Valley, and I think it was great to see, you know, someone in this general area come out and make the NFL, and it was a good time to play with him. But of course, on the field, he was definitely gunning for me, and I had him that day, so it was a good day.
I have a question for Matt Finkus. How many people remember the Saturday, and I don't know what year, the ESPN could not get enough of Matt Finkus either on the radio or on television because he did something that changed the tenor of the ball game. Tell us a little bit about that day, Matt Finkus.
I'm assuming you're talking about the Indiana game, not when I got in trouble for something? Okay. There's been both occasions, unfortunately. Yeah, the Indiana game in '96, tie game against Indiana, which, you know, I always have that play, and people ask me about it constantly. And the one thing that always, I was like, man, I have this great iconic OSU play. Like literally people will stop me in the street and say, you know, oh, I remember your fumble recovery against Indiana. Like it can't be against Michigan or Michigan State or USC, it's Indiana. So I mean, it was a fantastic play, and I mean, you know, like I said, everyone remembers it, but it's Indiana. So the only person I can really tease about it is Kevin Johns, who's now coaching at Indiana. So I have like the little YouTube video that every once in a while I'll just shoot over to him and just say, hey, how's Indiana doing for you? But actually, an interesting story about that, and it's been in a couple books. When I scored, I dropped the ball. And if you watch the video, you can see this is back. I mean, there was a fence about just as tall as this stage at Indiana, and you see a kid jump over the fence and grab the ball and then jump back over. And we're walking off the field after the game, and it was Ohio State fans everywhere. And so Ohio State rushed the field, and we're trying to fight our way back across get to the locker room, and a kid comes up to me and literally pulls up his shirt and pulls the ball out and gives the ball to me. and has the Indiana logo on it and everything. And so I get in, and this is, and I'm probably going to embarrass him a little bit, but so my dad is there at the game, and you know, I have the ball, and Coach Cooper's happy because he's not going to get fired this year, and we're going to the Rose Bowl and everything. But I gave the ball to my dad, and my dad had kept it for years, and I don't know if he actually cried or not, but he was really close if he didn't, really close. And so if anyone knows my dad, that was the one thing that I think almost brought him to tears, was the Indiana ball. But yeah, and actually the kid who gave it to me came up to me on a golf course. It was a bag boy, and came up to me. He's like, "Hey, do you remember me?" I'm like, "No, you're a bag boy." What are you? He's like, "I gave you that ball at Indiana." Now, there's probably a handful of people in the world that know that I got a ball from you know, in the middle of that game. So yeah, that kid actually remembered me, saw me at Little Turtle Golf Club in Columbus, and I sent him a couple jerseys and everything. But yeah, great memory for Indiana.
When we were putting this program together, we asked each of the 5 fellas to get us a list of all of their honors, which they did, and it was far lengthier than what we could have shared last night. There was one that was missing from Craig Clemens' list, and I'm going to ask him to talk about it. As a senior going into his senior year, he was named to the 1971 All-Playboy All-American team, and I want him to talk about being in the Playboy category and whether or not he met Hugh Hefner. Craig?
No. My kind of shy. What's the question?
The Playboy thing.
Okay, the Playboy thing. You know, it was quite an honor. Okay, so you get to be Playboy All-American, and they bring you to Chicago. They take you to the mansion. It's right on the end of Rush Street. You remember Faces?
Oh, no.
No, yeah. So it's so the Playboy Mansion was up Rush Street, and it's a state street. So they take us to the Playboy Mansion. We do a photo shoot. We're down Michigan Avenue and everything, and we come to the mansion, and I've got this. I've got it on the wall at home, but I've got this suit and the famous pole. You know the pole that them little girls. The little girls rock it on, okay? So everybody goes to the mansion, stuff like this, and I said, "What is this?" So we go up, they take you upstairs, and I actually slid down the pole that them girls being taking them pictures in. But I tell you what, it was a great experience. I was embarrassed, and my wife was very upset.
When we didn't see that on his resume, we assumed Teresa would not allow him to put it on the resume. Tom Hudson, you have another question.
I want to hear from Gallagher and Clemens together, one story from each, what their favorite memory was, both boys playing on the same team at the same time.
All right.
Chicago Bears.
David, Craig?
Oh, the Chicago Bears?
Yeah. You guys were teammates.
You remember them, don't you? Big C on the side, no face mask.
Go ahead.
Well, when I came into the league, this was before there was really an NFLPA. There was really no collective bargaining. So there was a lot of labor unrest, and I was part of the last All-Star team. Remember the All-Stars used to play the national champion? Yeah, the pros. The college All-Stars would play the pros. So we were the last team selected. We were going to play the Miami Dolphins, who won like 47 games in a row or something. But anyway, so I had already been drafted by the Bears, and we're in Chicago getting ready for this game, and all this turmoil is going on. And I was, my roommate was Dave Casper. Dave played for the Oakland, great tight end from Notre Dame. And he was sort of our mouthpiece, but they called our room, the Tribune called the room and said, we'd like a comment from somebody. And I said, Well, I'll give you a comment. And I gave him Casper's name, and that he was very much in favor of striking to win, our labor rights and all that. So he got in a lot of trouble for that. And they never played the All-Star game after that because there was too much unrest. But it's really amazing. He and I played in the same backfield in high school, and we played on the same team in the pros. I mean, that's pretty amazing. And he'll tell you about the picture they took at the big fountain down on the square. There's two Piquads there on the same team, and that's pretty amazing. So I think I knew Craig from way back when, and I kind of lost track of, although Bo had great things to say about you. I mean, he really, of course he always did about the opponent. He was the greatest goddamn player I ever seen. Ought to be turning pro, goddammit, I'll tell you something. Anyway, it was just great to be a teammate of Craig from Piqua.
I can honestly say that the greatest football player to come out of Piqua was Dave Gallagher, only because he was a student athlete. I think selfishly he said that he wanted to go pro. I think he was trying to prove something and do something, but ultimately he followed the advice of his father. And so when you can, I mean, we dreamed. We dreamed dreams. He had double dreams. I mean, when you can go to the NFL athletically, and then afterwards go to med school and become a doctor. I told him yesterday, I said, I'm reading your bio in the paper. You know how they did a little write-up on everybody? And they're saying, Dr. Gallagher did this, and Dr. Gallagher was an All-American and the first. I said, that wasn't Dr. Gallagher, that was Dave. Because I knew Dr. Gallagher as his father. And now he's a team doctor. I tell you what, if I had a son, Dr. Gallagher, you're the best.
Thanks, fellas. Got time for a couple more questions, and then we're going to have a special presentation. Anybody got a question? And if you don't have one, I'm going to ask one of our guests, Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart, how about coming up here and telling us what it's like to play for the Oakland Raiders?
I feel like I'm like I know I'm an outsider here because, I'm not from Piqua. I'm not a Piquad, right? I just learned this new, nomenclature today. But, and I'm a Penn Stater too, so we're all surrounded by these. But Big Ten, right? Big Ten. We got some Big Ten people here. Growing up, and I was born in Germany, and my mom's full German, and just found out recently that I'm still a German citizen. So I always felt like living in Pennsylvania, I wasn't really a Pennsylvanian, and people always would come up to me like, "Are you from California?" No, I guess I was just a little bit different. I don't know, Dave. Can you help me out with that? No. But I got drafted to the Philadelphia Eagles, 40 minutes from my hometown in Allentown, Pennsylvania. It was a great honor. Steadily moved west, lived in Cincinnati, really got my first big shot in Cincinnati to play. Coach Marvin Lewis, I was there his first year when they started turning things around in Cincinnati, and he's the most tenured coach at any pro team to this day. So it's pretty cool to be able to go back there and see my fellow Bengals and hang out with them, and coaches still remember me, some of the good things that I did. But I've always wanted to live in California. And after my time in Cincinnati was up, I had two places to go. It was either Atlanta or the Oakland Raiders. And for playing for a legendary coach, Joe Paterno, I had a chance to sit and talk with Al Davis, with the Raiders, and the Raiders is iconic. I mean, it's one of the most, if not the most recognizable sports symbol across the world. There's Raider fan clubs all across the world. And just to be able to play for somebody that, you know, just had a passion. I'm a people. If you haven't gathered this already, I'm a people person. I love relationships. I love people. And just to be able to have conversations with Al Davis, to put on that Raider shield, and just to run around and just act as crazy as I want to be, you know, and not, you know, and it just fit in with the rest of the guys was just an awesome thing. One thing I did hate, and it's one of the last teams that still plays in a baseball stadium, was that concrete infield. I had a concussion on there on one of those days, one of those game days. So I'm in the club too. But
not only are you in the club, but we're going to get paid.
We're going to get paid. Yeah. So once a Raider, always a Raider, they say. So thank you.
Thanks, Honoree. Got time for one more question. Who wants to ask the last question? Then we're going to have a special presentation. If not, at this point in time, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special presentation for all of our 5 honorees, and I'm going to turn it over to Chuck Asher.
I knew I'd get up here tonight. They couldn't keep me off this mic. Let's see. Okay, we got till midnight for me to make these presentations. We have a special presentation that was given to these players by Sue and Bob Doherty Promotions, and they're called nesting dolls. Now, you don't think about giving dolls to pro players, but I'm guaranteeing they're going to take this thing and love it and like it for the rest of their life. It's going to be really special to them. And I'll give you a shot at looking at the doll, okay? And you're going to ask me, well, what the hell is a nesting doll?
Sorry, Coach, sorry.
Okay, well, I'm going to show you what a nesting doll is all about. Oh, top comes off, and my gosh, there's another doll inside that one. Well, my gosh. Uh-oh.
Who's the first doll?
Oh, this is Craig Clemens. This is Dave Gallagher, in case you didn't know. And you go down to the next one, and there's Matt Finkus.
Why am I so small?
Age before beauty. And you go down, and there's Matt Piqua. And then finally you get down here, and here's little He's the baby of the group. Yeah. Okay, well.
Here I go.
I gotta put it back together.
I gotta put it back together. I don't know whether I can or not. Okay.
Here, let me help you.
We'll get it back together here. See where we are. Get the right helmet on, and the right guy. Oh, hell. Oh, well. We'll put it together because I know you guys want to get out of here. Okay. First guy to get one, and he also gets a memory. He gets a memory, and his old scoutmaster suggested that I give it to him with the doll, and it's not full of anything, but it's got his name on it from Boy Scouts. And so I thought, well, I'll present both of them at the same time, and something he can keep on his mantle and show his kids. Dave?
Where'd you get this?
Bob Jacoby got it. Okay.
Crown Royal?
We'll get the next one over here to Craig Clemens. And Matt Finkus. And we'll give this next one to Quinn.
Brian's gonna put this together.
Oh no! Yeah. You got. Where am I here? I'll get it to you in a minute, Brandon. Where does it go into this one? Where's my topper? Oh, here it is. Now I'm coming. Now we got one for Brandon. Take that with it. That goes there. If anybody else is interested in having one of those, they are available. They go for about $125, and he's going woo, but they're really neat, and they're from Russia, made in Russia, and so if you want to see that, talk to Sue and Bob. If you'd like to have one.
Thanks, Chuck. Thanks, Bob and Sue. We got a couple of housekeeping items here. First of all, remember we had the jersey? The jersey, you had to buy a raffle ticket for $10. We now have the winner. The winner is Melinda Silman.
This is going to go to the class of 64's class reunion. We're going to give it away at our class reunion. So thank you so much.
One more item. You'll notice that at some of your tables you have flowers. Well, the youngest female at the table is eligible for the flowers. Chip says the helmets are not giveaways, but the flowers, youngest female at the table gets the flowers, okay? At the conclusion of the program, we'd like to have all 5 honorees come to the front for a series of pictures. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great weekend, hasn't it? I don't know about you, but it's been a great weekend. We've got a lot of people to thank, and I'm going to read the list. The National Football League and Tony Stewart, our 5 honorees and their family. There are 3 fellows that didn't show up tonight that were especially invited that deserved our recognition. We couldn't have put this on without Rob Kaiser of the Piqua Daily Call, Mike Ellery of the Piqua Daily Call, and David Fong from the Troy Daily News. They got a special invitation tonight. I'm very, very sorry they aren't with us, but those 3 gentlemen really did a nice job of bringing this story to your community. Other thank yous include JoJo Mars, the athletic secretary. If you had a chance to see our fall sports program from last night, that was designed by a gentleman called Steve Rains. Some other people we want to recognize: Ernst Concrete, Polysource, Unity National Bank, Crayex Corporation, Jackson Tube, Piqua Crane and Rigging, Piqua Athletic Department, the Piqua Indian Athletic Boosters. Those beautiful plaques that were given to our honorees last night were from Joe Toma. We also want to thank the Piqua Area Chamber of Commerce and another person who worked very hard for that program, Dick Harrod and Globus Printing, the Piqua City School staff, everybody here at Edison State for tonight, Piqua Granite, Doherty Promotions, Reverend Hines, Quint Creative Group, Atlantis Sportswear, Barclays in downtown Piqua, Karen Wendland, and most of all, ladies and gentlemen, all of you who have been with us this evening. Thanks for being with us. We've had fun. We hope you have fun. Drive safely. Good night, everybody.